Changing filament is a routine process for 3D printing. But if it is not done properly, there is a high probability of damaging the 3D printer or creating perpetually failing prints. Also note that it is imperative to use approved PLA. Use of off-brand PLA can create new issues and could potentially void your warranty. Today, we will be working with the filament drive, the filament tube, the filament guide, and the spool holder. Make sure that your hot end is several inches away from the print board before starting. On the LCD display, the numbers in the top left corner are the temperatures for the hot end. The first number is the current temperature of the hot end, while the second number is the target temperature for the hot end. Currently, the hot end is 43 degrees and the target temperature is 0. Press the selection wheel to enter the menu. Then select and click Prepare. Then select and click Preheat PLA. Notice that the target temperature is now 225 degrees and the target temperature is slowly increasing. Once the current temperature of the hot end reads 225 degrees, press the selection wheel to enter the menu, then select and click Prepare, then scroll to the bottom and select and click Move Axis. You will see different increments of manual axis control. You'll always want to use Move 1 mm. Now you will see options to move each axis as represented in a Cartesian coordinate system. Scroll to the bottom and select and click Extruder. The LCD display will read Extruder 0. Turn the selection wheel counterclockwise. The LCD display will start to display a negative number and the filament will back out of the filament drive. Once the filament has completely backed out of the filament drive, slide it out of the filament tube and begin to coil it back onto the spool. As the end of the filament nears the filament guide, be sure not to let the filament backlash. Grasp it firmly as the end comes through the filament guide and push the end of the filament through one of the holes in the spool to lock it in place. Place the new spool of filament onto the spool holder. Be sure the larger opening in the spool is facing the 3D printer or the spool will not sit properly. Pull the end of the filament out of the hole in the spool and push it through the appropriate hole in the filament guide. Then slide the filament through the filament tube. Use a pair of snips to cut off the end of the filament at a slanted angle. This will help align the filament as it feeds into the filament drive. Push the filament into the small hole in the top of the filament drive until it makes contact with the gear below, which is roughly 3/4 of an inch. On the LCD display, make sure that the temperature is at or above 225 degrees. Press the selection wheel to enter the menu, then select and click Prepare, then scroll to the bottom and select and click Move Axis, then select and click Move 1 mm, then scroll to the bottom and select and click Extruder. The LCD display will read Extruder 0. Turn the selection wheel clockwise, the LCD display will start to display a positive number, and the filament will feed into the filament drive. Once the filament drive has engaged the filament, continue to turn the selection wheel clockwise and increase the extrude number on the LCD display. The filament will start extruding from the hot end. If you are changing the filament to a new color, make sure to continue extruding until the extruded filament is uniformly the new color. Now clean up the extruded filament and you're ready to print. On the LCD display, press the selection wheel to enter the menu, then select and click Prepare, then select and click Cool Down to cool the hot end.